Hi, it's Patty from PS Paper Crafts. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to show you how to make this card using the Wild Roses background stamp. I've been using the background stamps lately and I really love them. I use my Stamparatus for it. I made a week or so ago this tie-dye spiral using the spiral die, and it's just one big stamp. And that's why it's good to use your Stamparatus. And then on yesterday's blog, I love this. This is the daisy garden, and I made this card. If you look at my blog from yesterday, you'll see the instructions. I didn't do a video, but I embossed it with white embossing powder, and then I colored the leaves and the flower centers with watercolor pencils, and used blender pens to just kind of soften it up. So I thought this was really pretty. So I'm going to use another background stamp to make this card. Using a little bit of a different technique with this, very easy. So I have my pieces. I'm using Mango Melody. On this card, I used Daffodil Delight for the yellow. It looks kind of orangey and dark. And Blackberry Bliss for the centers. This time I'm using Mango Melody and Melon Mambo. That's quite a mouthful. So let me just put my pieces aside. I want to make sure I cut this piece is 5 by 3 3/4. It's a little bit smaller. It's the same as this, but I wanted to have the white background and I wanted it to be a bigger border than that skinny one that I use a lot. So let's get my Stamparatus. If you don't have this, this is a great tool, especially for background stamps. And I have to tell you, when I did this one, I used the Versamark so I could do the heat embossing, and I actually stamped it twice so that I made sure I had really good coverage before I embossed it. So the Stamparatus was good because it helps keep whatever you're stamping right in place. So if you just lay it out, and I'm only going to stamp it once this time because of the way I'm stamping it, but typically you lay it down, you put your magnets on it to hold it in place. If you're using a background stamp, though, you can't really use the magnets because you'll interfere with the actual stamping. So I'm just going to put a little mark that this is the corner I'm laying this in. And then you're going to take your stamp, and it's very big. I mean, you can put it on that big block, but then it's hard to manage. So having a Stamparatus, or if you don't have it and you have the Misty, that's another good tool to use for this type of stamping. And it is going to go over beyond my stamp because it's very big. You can stamp the whole size and then cut it down if you wanted. So now what I like to do is put my stamp case underneath here so that this is more sturdy. And I'm going to ink this up with the Mango Melody. And I did find if you do this, you end up with lines, I don't know if you can see it, from the stamp pad itself. So I tried to get it all inked up, and then I looked closely to make sure I didn't have a little bit of ridge. I don't know if you can see it in this card, but it looks like there's a line there, and I thought, well, where did that come from? And then I realized it's like the corner of this. So if you just kind of twist it, you want to make sure it's all inked up good. I tried sliding it this way too, but I think you might be pulling ink off it. So just look to see if you see any lines. You'll notice them before you stamp. So I want to get it nice and inked up. I don't know if you can see. There was one there, but I got rid of it. So we're going to close this up. And then I'm going to use a Sponge Dauber and my Mango Melody ink. And I'm just going to touch the center of the flowers. Now, if it goes a little bit off, it's okay, because if you look at flowers, a lot of times you see the dark center and it's bleeding into the actual petals. So I'm just trying to do this. If it's very small, like these, I'm just going like on the corner, and you can see it. So you'll be able, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it. So you'll be able to know if you got it covered or not. So this one is a big one. And I kind of like it bleeding a little bit into the petals. So this is kind of a fun way of stamping. Now on that, on this card, I colored this with the markers. Somebody else did it with the dauber and did all, like each one came out, and it really looked good. So I thought that was another way of doing it, probably faster than the markers, using the daubers. So on these little ones, I'm really just trying to get the corner of this. So let's see. I love playing with new product, although this stamp was in the old catalog. The other ones are new. And I love the daisy one. I think that's so pretty. And I think you could just stamp it and not emboss it, but color the daisies yellow or an orangey kind of color. Let's see. So I'm trying to see if I've got them all. And if you're missing any, it's not the end of the world. I think we can survive it. You could always go back in with a blender pen and pick up some ink and touch it up. So just give it a once over, look to make sure everything looks pretty good. And you can, with this, do it again if you really missed a big area. So I'm going to close this up, and then we're going to press this down. And I like to really press it down good and make sure it gets all over. And it's going to get on my scrap paper, the grid paper that's on there, but that's okay. See, I could have done it a little bit darker, so I might go over some of this again. I don't think I got in here. Let me just close it down again. Sometimes it's better to go out. Let me make sure this magnet's not in the way. Just get it lined up. See, I think I got that better. Sometimes it's, if it's too close to the hinge, it doesn't press down as well. So let's see how that is. Okay, that looks good. So it's kind of like, you know, murky in some areas, or where it bleeds in. I don't know if murky's the right word, but I think it's okay. I'm happy with it. So let's put this aside. And then we can start building our card. So the sentiment I got from the Sunny Sentiments. I think this is great. So I did a happy hello, and I think this is kind of a bright, cheerful card. I love this, hoping your birthday is filled with all the best things, and thought you could use some sunny thoughts today. That's what I'm going to use on this one as well. So let me get a piece of scrap. So I'm going to do this in the Mango Melody. You could do the Melon Mambo if you want, whichever one you want. But this sunny thing is making me think orange or yellow. So I'm going to just get this inked up, and I'm going to stamp it over here. And I'll punch it out. I'm using that postage punch, which is really nice. And it's easy because if it's crooked, you can correct it with the punch. So if you have your punch, so these punches, this is the top, you close it, it locks, you open it, and you can use it to punch. So it makes it nice to store them closed. And then you can just move this around to get it nice and straight. That looks good. I love using a punch. It's nice and fast. So we'll build the card. And what I did was I took a piece of Mango Melody, and then I'm using this ribbon. This comes in 3 in a pack. It is Flowers for Every Season, and it has this nice white. I was going to use a piece of white cardstock that was embossed, but I decided I would just use this ribbon. I was back and forth on it. I do a lot of playing beforehand. So this is one that I used. I was using the Mango Melody and the Evening Evergreen, but I wasn't crazy about it. This is Pale Papaya and Mango Melody, or no, and Melon Mambo, those names. So I thought that was pretty. So just, you know, play. See what you like. So we want to have this backed up with a piece of white. So this is our normal 4 1/4, or sorry, 4 by 5 1/4. And let's just put this down. Isn't it nice and pretty? I love this paper, this color, the Mango Melody. I don't use it very often, and then when I use it, I'm like, wow, it's so bright and cheerful. I love that. It's one of the brights. So the brights set of colors is really nice to work with. So let's just lay this down. Okay, and then we'll put our ribbon, or no, not before. We'll put this down, and then we'll put our ribbon down. So let's see where we want it. I did have it up a little bit. So let's put some stamp and seal on this. And lay that up here. Wouldn't you like to receive this card? A happy hello. And then the inside, I love the sunshine. Thought you could use some sunny thoughts today. Who wouldn't love to receive that? So let's get some Scotch tape. And we'll just put this ribbon around the back. And I like to use embossed, you know, an embossed piece strip or just cardstock. You don't always have to put ribbon down. Is that a little crooked? I'm trying to see. I think it is a little crooked. I'm going to try to pull it up and straighten it out. Let's see how well I do with it. The Stamp and Seal does give you that flexibility. You know I like the liquid glue because then you can get it straight right from the get-go. But this is pretty forgiving as well. So then we'll put this down, put some Stamp and Seal on here. Oops. I think I went off the paper before on that. And then we can put this down. That's my inside. And I really didn't stamp the inside other than the sentiment, because this would be a hard one to just get part of. I think it would look funny. So let's put this down with some dimensionals. And on this one, I put those dots down. Let me see if that will work on this one as well. I'm not sure if the color is going to work, but we'll see. We'll find something to put down. So let's do this first. Okay, let's get rid of these. So on this one, I use these. These are the Playing with Patterns resin dots, and this is crushed curry. And I thought it went okay with the Daffodil Delight, and I think it will work with this. So let's go ahead and use them. So let me get my Picket tool. And I did this size and the little tiny one. So just the two of them. I thought they were good together. And then let's do the inside. So this I'm just going to stamp in the Mango Melody, the sentiment. And I could add some other flower from another set if I want to, but this really takes up a lot of room. It's pretty big, so if you want to write something, you want to make sure you don't have a lot to write if you add more to it. So we'll just stamp that down. Oh, upside down. Well, that's not good. Let me flip it, but see how big it is? It's a little bit too low. So let's do this. I usually do it on scrap first to make sure it's straight. So we just put that down. There we go. Thought you could use some sunny thoughts today. And then we'll just put this on the inside of the card and we'll call it a day. So if you've never used a background stamp, I think it's fun to have, and you don't need your designer series paper, or you don't need to stamp a background with individual stamps. You just use the one stamp. So easy. So these are the 2 cards. Thanks for joining, and come back for my next video. Have a good day.